New tonight, the Louisville Courier-Journal reports that the Louisville police and the county attorney's office hid at least 738,000 records documenting sexual abuse of Explorer Scouts by 2 police officers. And then they lied to keep the files from the public. Explorer Scouts is a program that introduces young people to law enforcement. Joining us now to talk more about this case is the news director for the Louisville Courier, Mike Trautmann. Mike, this story is just stunning. Your lawyer said that he's never seen anything so brazen and called it an outrage. You're in the newspaper business. Can you give me a headline or two?
Well, stunning is certainly one way to look at it. It's remarkable, actually, that the lengths that the department went to try to hide these records so that the public wouldn't have access to them. They insist that nothing was nefarious. They hired a consultant to say that there was no cover-up here. Sure looks like a cover-up to us.
So how did you find this, Mike? What was involved?
We have been fighting for the last 2 years, 3 years to try to get these records that we knew were of public of worth. We wanted to see how high up the knowledge went of who knew what and what they did about it. And we got stonewalled for years and years and years until recently there was a disclosure that indeed those records did exist, and they existed within the police department.
So how did it start, though? Do we know how many children might have been abused, and is that what tipped you off to this?
So 3 years ago, there was an investigation with the LMPD. They said, we think we have a problem. We think we have an officer who was in that program who may have been sexually assaulting kids. And then not long after, an unidentified teen sued. We don't know his name, but said that he was sexually abused by an officer at their home, in their car, and then 6 more teens joined them. So there's now a lawsuit with at least 7 juveniles who have sued. There may be more out there.
So you then went after the records, and they told you they'd all been turned over to the FBI, if I read this right, but the paper found that wasn't the case at all. In fact, there were 738,000 records, as we said, which they deleted. Is that right?
They had a server. They turned this over to the FBI because the FBI started a task force to investigate, and that investigation is still underway. So they said, well, you need to go to the FBI to get the records. Well, the FBI says we have an active investigation. We're not going to turn them over. So we went back to the city and said, open records law says that if you have them, you have to give them to us. They said, we don't have them. That turned out not to be true when we found a letter that said that their internal investigation unit indeed did have the records and that they could supply those to the FBI task force if they needed them. Our lawyers found that out and then went after them.
All right, I have about a minute left, Mike, and 2 questions, so if you can give me 30 seconds for each. What's happened to the officers involved in this?
2 of them have been sent to prison, Kenneth Betts, Brandon Wood. They're serving 70 months for one, a year or so for the other. There's been a 3rd officer who has just been indicted. This was just on the 3rd that he was indicted, also charged with sexually assaulting a girl, and that case is still pending.
All right, so I'm guessing the bigger question now is what happens moving forward? The fallout, how high this thing went, what else?
Correct. You know, how high did it go? That's what we're trying to find out, because we've been told, well, the mayor didn't know, that the police chief didn't know. Somebody made these decisions, and we want to know who made these decisions to send these records to a place that we couldn't find them.
Well, Mike Trautmann, an incredible piece of journalism. Congratulations to you and the paper for that. Thank you for your time. It's been a busy year there, 2020 for you in Louisville, of course, with Breonna Taylor and now this. But we do thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.